Good afternoon, and welcome again to the TOMA Mercy Association weekly worship service located here at the ABJ Community Development Center, 1818 East on 71st Street. I am Minister Yashua Hakeem Aten, your announcer for today. I'd like to begin with our unity. In the name of the everlasting Father, he that causes all that exists to exist, he that is self-existent, he who directs the sunships of millions and trillions of years, and he who's made time the seed of the universe. He who the indigenous people of Africa is Amun-Ra and Aten. Among the Hebrews is Ansaf, Yahweh, and Elohim. Among the Christians is Lord God and Jehovah. And among the Muslim and the Islamic world is Allah, the one God. I bear witness that all of these names refer to the same one Almighty God, and it is to him whom I give reverence and to whom I submit. I boldly proclaim that we, the descendants of those black men and women who survived the transatlantic slave trade, are the 13th tribe, born in North America, and are of a Nubian Khemetic lineage. The blood of all the nations of the earth flow through our veins. I greet you in the ancient but holy words of peace. Hotep, Shalom, Assalamu Alaikum, Abaragani, Alafia, and Ashe. And now we will read the 13 points of what we believe and know, which is the foundation of this organization and should be the foundation of every freedom movement that we have in our communities. Point number 1 says that we believe and know that we are not to repeat the mistakes of the past prophets and messengers of the Almighty Creator of the heavens and earth. Point number 2 says that we can only establish an economic base through the application of the knowledge of self and the incorporation of the ideologies of the Honorable Marcus Garvey, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Mahatma Gandhi, and Ben Ami. Point number 3, we believe and know that the prophets and messengers of the Holy Bible, the Holy Quran, and the Kemetic Holy Books were all black. Point number 4, we believe and know that Jesus Christ of 2,000 years was and is a black man. Point number 5, we believe and know that the knowledge of the Almighty Creator goes beyond books written by the prophets and messengers of the Almighty Creator. Point number 6, we believe and know that in order to coordinate unity, you must first recognize and accept the uniqueness of being able to worship our Creator, regardless of religious denomination, name, title, ritual, particular dress, or holy book, as long as it recognizes the Almighty Creator of the heavens and earth as supreme. Point number 7 says that we believe and know that it is impossible to tell the truth without exposing the wicked governments of America and the world. Point number 8, we believe and know that the United States government, in collaboration with other European nations, have a denial objective to exterminate dark-skinned people of color off the earth through the act of genocide. Point number 9, we believe and know that some of the most effective methods that are being used today are A, AIDS, B, birth control, C, alcohol and drug abuse, D, gang and domestic violence, E, the systematic elimination of trauma centers and public schools within the black communities of America and the world. Point number 10, we believe and know that the last trick Satan is playing on us is the dividing of us by our religious differences, religious gangbanging. Point number 11 says that we believe and know that the conflict between the various religions are comparable to the conflict between the various street gangs within the inner cities of America. Point number 12, we believe and know that the war on drugs and gangs is a diabolical plot to disarm the black community of weapons, break up the black family, withdraw our constitutional rights, also kill and incarcerate young black males under the undercover code name ABEL 2029. And point number 13, we believe and know that every letter, shape, sound, and numerical value contains esoteric information that completely transcends the specific contextual meaning of the word. And our purpose is to bring about the growth of a righteous community in accordance with the laws of the Creator of the universe under the leadership and guidance of Brother Minister Rahim Kasser Aten, to provide solutions to the social and economic ills that plague the communities of urban America. And our goal is to enhance the economic development of our communities by establishing businesses, real and personal properties, thereby creating jobs and entrepreneurship training programs that reverse the concept of leaving the community to buying back the community. And our goal is to re-educate and retrain youth and young adults to develop positive moral values as an alternative to delinquent behaviors. Because you can't rebuild a community and not build the minds of the residents of the community to meet the responsibility of maintaining the community's image. And our motto is to let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. Matthew 5, verse 16. And now we will have our Black National Anthem. If you all are sitting, if you can stand. To the red, black, and green. If you all can put that right fist in the air for me. It says, here's to this flag of mine.
Here's to this flag of mine.
The red, black, and green.
The red, black, and green.
Hopes in his future's bright.
Hopes in his future's bright.
Africa has seen.
Africa has seen.
Here's to the red of it.
Here's to the red of it.
Great nations shall know of it.
Great nations shall know of it.
In time to come.
In time to come.
Red blood shall flow of it.
Red blood shall flow of it.
Historians shall write of it.
Historians shall write of it.
This flag of mine.
This flag of mine.
Here's to the black of it.
Here's to the black of it.
400 millions back of it.
For a million years back of it.
Whose destiny depends on it.
Whose destiny depends on it.
The red, black, and green of it.
The red, black, and green of it.
Oh, flag of mine.
Oh, flag of mine.
Here's to the green of it.
Here's to the green of it.
Young men and women shall dream of it.
Young men and women shall dream of it.
Face shots and shells for it.
Face shots and shells for it.
Maidens shall sing of it.
Maidens shall sing of it.
Waving so high.
Waving so high.
Here's to the whole of it.
Here's to the whole of it.
Colors bright and pole of it.
Colors bright and pole of it.
Pleased is my soul with it.
Pleased is my soul with it.
Regardless of what is told of it.
Regardless of what is told of it.
Thanks to God for giving it.
Thanks to God for giving it.
This great flag of mine.
This great flag of mine.
Black power.
Black power.
Black power.
Black power.
Black power.
Black power.
And when we say black power, we're only talking about the ability to define, develop, and defend that which is in the best interest of black people. And I don't see anything wrong with us wanting to see and defend what's in the best interest of our people. We can stand here and we can talk for hours about every issue and concern that we have in our community, and we know that there are multitudes of them. So we want to talk about the solution today. And so what I want to do at this time is I want to bring up the founder of our great organization, Minister Raheem Kased Atem, our co-founder, Minister Omari Jahi Atem, and our First Lady, Sister Aisha Atem. And so at this time, I want to bring to the podium our founder. So why don't you please help me welcome him with a warm round of applause, Brother Minister Raheem Kased Atem.
Peace, peace, family.
Peace.
If Facebook family and all. I am Brother Minister Raheem said Atum. And I'm just here for a minute that I might be able to share with you a little something about this movement and the ministers that you are seeing that come up to bring to you information on the condition of our people, but also solutions on how we can get up out of that particular oppressive condition. We've been hearing ways, means, and certain strategies on how to do this for years. Some have been successful and some have failed. But yet, we move on. There's a song that comes to mind. Onward Christian soldiers marching as to war. But this movement has been set up as a worship service on a Sunday, but more so spelling W-A-R as H-I-P, because the other one, W-O-R as H-I-P, we consider that to be something that you do every day. We consider that you should have in your mind some sort of positive energy flow that connects you to the ether, that connects you to the energy, to nature, to things that are natural around you, and becoming one with it and humbling yourself to it, that it might give what it has to offer back to you, is continual worship every day. And so we don't have a one day that we come on Sunday and W-O-R-S-H-I-P. Nah. But this on a Sunday in this movement is more likened to the Pentagon, where you see high-ranking Army, Navy, and Marine officials coming together every day to look at world conditions and look at things that are going on in the world and making strategies and moves throughout the world and making and building alliances with other countries like Israel and certain Arab countries like Lebanon and Jordan to join with them to go against who they proclaim to be their enemy. Well, in the same sense, this service brings to you things that are going on in the world. It brings to you who we consider the black man and woman in America, who we consider are our allies, not someone else telling us who our allies are. You see, at one time, Muammar Gaddafi was our ally.
Yes.
At another time, Robert Mugabe was our ally. Why do you say was, Brother Minister? Well, they took him out. They removed our ally. But still today, we choose for ourselves who we will build an alliance with. And 9 times out of 10, it would be either someone or some country in the world or some movement in our communities where we share like minds, where we are reaching for the same things for our people, where we want for our people the same thing that they want for their people. And most times with our movement, with the TOMA Nation, with the Temple of Mercy Association, we are more so seeking to be allies with people who look like us. Let's just be clear what we're saying. Yeah, we support what's happening to the Palestinians. Not support what's happening to them. We we stand with them, dealing with their fight against Zionist Israel. We don't too much run and champion their cause, but we will share with you what's happening to them so that you can understand that we share kind of a common enemy. Who shares a common enemy? The TOMA nation? No, blacks in America share common enemies. This being Black History Month really should be Black History 365, but because we're focusing a little bit more on Black history, what we're saying, brothers and sisters, and this is just the truth, that our issue, if we're going to have allies who share common interests, then let's be truthful. Our issue should be number one, and that is not arrogance. Let's count the cost. 200 million lost in the waters before we got here. Let's count that and weigh it against somebody else now. Not even able to hardly even count the loss of lives since we've been here. Let's add that up to others. And let's look at the disparities here, that when other nationalities from other countries come over here, they gain in wealth 10 times faster than we are, and we've been here before they were here and still ain't got off the bottom. We should be first. I'm not talking just to be talking and saying, oh, listen at that arrogance. Okay, well then you add up what I'm saying, and you tell me if all of those who consider us and want us to help them shouldn't be getting behind us first.
That's right.
I said first. A state of emergency is a state of emergency.
Yeah.
If there's a state of emergency, then you stop everything. And you all converge on where the emergency is. Is that correct?
That's right.
Yeah.
But I believe that Black America is in a state of emergency.
Oh, yeah.
I don't care what Trump says. Unemployment is at an all-time high, not employment. He lied at the State of the Union. I think it was the state of Trump's mental condition that we was looking at that day. And I ain't trying to be funny, I'm just saying it like I saw it. That's what he exhibited, his state of mind. Because it sure wasn't the State of the Union that was written in the Constitution. Because he didn't go by none of that.
That's right.
See? So, like I say, I'm not here to give the lecture. But I'm always going to be here to make you say, that if you're dealing with Black History Month and the guy who I represent, along with myself, Dr. Webb Evans, Mr. By Black, he always said, don't just take this money and celebrate it. He said, make Black history. And the only way we can make it by being behind this pulpit is that our words got to become that pen to start writing the things that we need to be aware of that we're going through today. Right now. Right now. Everybody want to make gun violence the disease. Now the disease is the mind of the person who plant these guns and flood our community with those weapons of mass destruction. That's the disease vehicle. The gun can't be the disease. The violence can't be a disease. You know, they want them to make a law or some kind of legislation to make violence a disease. You know, I agree with that if you go and find a diseased person. Who did we get it from?
That white man.
Who was driving by before we were?
Why you keep it?
Just look at their movies. They used to show a machine gun. Who?
Kelly.
Oh. Babyface who?
Nelson.
Killer.
Showing us on television how they ride by somebody in a restaurant and they start shooting. It's a day coming up that they talk about all the time. St. Who? Valentine's Day Massacre.
Right.
Ain't no killing that we have done in our community that match what they did, except them white boys killing people in school.
Thank you.
Come on, tell me. Shame the devil. Trying to make us look like you should be in our neighborhood monitoring what violence look like. No, wrong hood. We got it from you.
Mm-hmm.
And just like a virus, you look for the source.
That's right.
That's right.
You don't look for who it affects. You look for that one person. What do they call it? Ground zero.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Ground Caucasian.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you where ours come from. I ain't gonna lie. Every time you look at certain hieroglyphics, you see the king and the queen together. You see the family together. But then you go look at Roman and Greek statues, two men kissing.
It's true.
Am I lying?
No, sir.
And then they're going to show in their own hieroglyphics their true nature, and then want to put it out in social media to make us think that it came from Africa. Again, ground zero, y'all. Wasn't in Africa. Let's talk to the Greeks. Let's talk to the Roman Empire. They even show it in some of their Roman movies, don't they? Where it started from. I looked at a movie called Shaka Zulu. I ain't seen nobody homosexual. I didn't see it nowhere. So if we're gonna do this right, and you want to know what this movement is about, we expose it. We let you know where ground zero is. And then we let you know that hope is never lost when you got a connection to the Father. No such thing as hope being lost. The only place I saw anything righteous or spiritual that mentioned hope was given the definition of faith. Substance of things hoped for, but yet at the same time evidence. So if it's substance and there's evidence, all God is saying is that you just can't see it yet, but just have faith and believe that I know what you know not. So you just keep going. Put one foot in front of the other. A lot of times you pray and wait on it. Now you pray and walk into what you prayed for. Because the movement forward is what opens the door. Let me shut up. Let me shut up. Because I got to call the man up that's really supposed to be speaking. I did making all my noise yesterday. So I'm going to sit back down and let you all hear from a young man that's been training and studying and reading the word and opening up his heart and mind and letting the creative force use him. He don't resist it. He let it use him. And let that light shine, showing forth the good works that the Creator is bringing through him, bringing to him, for you and I to receive. Put your hands together for none other than Brother T.J., Minister T.J. Shakur.
In the name of the everlasting Father, he that causes all that exists to exist, he that accepts existence, he who directs the sonships of millions and trillions of years, and he who made time, the seed of the universe. Known among the ancient Khemites as Amun-Ra and Aten, Among the Hebrews is Ansar, Yahweh, and Elohim. Among the Christians is Lord God and Jehovah. Among the Muslim and Islamic people is Allah, the one God. Among the Rastafarians is Jah, Rastafari. Among the Yoruba tribes of West Africa is Odumare, Eshu, and many other Orisha names. I bear witness that all of these names refer to the same one, Almighty Creator, and it is to Him who I give reverence, and it is to Him whom I submit. I boldly proclaim that we, the descendants of those black men and women who survived the transatlantic slave trade, are the lost 13th tribe, born in North America and of a Nubian Khemetic lineage. I further proclaim that the blood of all nations flow through our veins, and I greet you in the ancient holy words of peace and that of our ancestors in Hotep,
Mayan Hotep.
Shalom,
Shalom alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum,
Wa alaikum salam, sir.
Abaragani,
Jimmy Sante Abaragani.
Alafia,
Alafi Zukwe.
and Ashe.
Ashe.
All right, peace, peace. I am Brother Minister Taharka J. Shakur, the youth minister of the Temple of Mercy Association, again founded by Minister Raheem Kasset Aten, co-founded by Minister Omari Jahi Aten, and our First Lady, Sister Makita Aisha Aten. Again, we are a Black conscious movement dedicated to the upliftment of Black people. Today, as we are in what we in the temple like to call Black Heritage Month, not so much Black history, because as he stated, it should not be so much about just dawning on the past, but also creating Black history. And when you see me next time, it will be Black history, because a year ago, in 2 weeks, I became ordained in the Temple of Mercy Association. Yes. But as we talk about that, I really want to go into what the title of this lecture, what the topic of this lecture is about, which is about the rape of Khemet. Now, what is Khemet? Many people understand this area of landmass being called Egypt. Even if you look at a map, the map technically doesn't even call it Egypt. It's the land of the Arab something empire that they actually have on the map of this place. But if you actually go into history, it was a place called Khemet. Khemet means coal black. When you really break that down, it talks about the people that lived in that land. Now, we look at the Bible and hear about Egypt in the Bible and the pharaohs in the Bible. I personally believe that the Pharaoh in the Bible, when Jesus was around here, wasn't a black man. Let's go back and look at that. The people who are in Egypt currently today, they're not Egyptians. They are not the native people that live there. No matter how long they've been there, thousands of years, hundreds of years, they are not the original people of that time. Then let's talk about other people like Alexander the Destroyer or Napoleon Bonaparte. These people who in their world are great people in their history. Now let's talk about our story for a second. When it comes to people such as this, we look at the history of Khemet and many great dynasties of ancient Khemet, who some of us might be the descendants of those same people who ruled such great dynasties as those. If we look at the transatlantic slave trade, if you were a person and these foreigners came and said, we taking some of y'all people, but there happened to be other people that looked like you but wasn't in your tribe. See, when we talk about the fall of Khemet and the fall of East Africa leading up to the transatlantic slave trade, we will see that a lot of us, the first slaves to come, were the ancient Kemites who were misplaced and displaced out of their land for thousands of years. And again, we have always been a tribal people, a bloodline type of people. So if that person is not in your tribe, who are you going to give up first? The foreigners. Now let's talk about these Kemetic people and the advances they had in civilization leading up to the fall of Kemet, leading up to the fall and the culmination of many different empires coming in and raping Kemet. See, the reason why we use the word rape, because we understand the depth of when a person rapes and what is taken from them, how they are completely no longer themselves after they go through such an act. If it is such continuously happening and you're getting raped consistently, one after another, empire after empire, destroyer after destroyer. What will be left but the remnants of a broken people? So we know about Alexander the Great. Let's talk about the ancient Greeks and what they did and how they conquered the world. And many of their philosophers are known as some of the greatest men to ever teach philosophy and sociology and thought, and just great thought leaders like Aristotle and Plato and all of these Greek people. But where did they get this information from? Where did these great men become the understanders of the stars and astrology? If we understand that the original university of Timbuktu was in Africa, and that some of the greatest scholars come from that area, and many people came around to study in the mystery schools of ancient Khemet, where did this information come from? Why did it so happen that these people came into great prominence after the fall of Khemet? After Alexander the Destroyer, which they call great because he was able to conquer one of the most powerful civilizations on earth. That is why he is so great to them, because he was able to conquer Khemet. Did not only conquer it, because when they say they conquered it, they told us they destroyed all the lockers, killed all the people, but then why can't we go inside of the Vatican? What is locked so deep down inside of the Vatican? Where did all of these books and knowledge and understanding and thoughts of the great schools that our people had go? Did it just up and they just burned it all? Because that's what they told us. They just burned it all down. But then they came out with these great advancements and scholars and information. Then let's fast forward, because they lost it shortly after, to the Persians. Now, after being raped by the Greek, they didn't get raped by the Persian Empire, which turned into the Byzantine Empire. And you talk about all of this before apparently Jesus came. Because this is all BCE, before Christ, as they like to say, or before the Common Era. So you telling me by the time the Bible was speaking of, and Jesus being in the mystery schools, it's no longer fully ran by Africans. Because even in the lost books of the Bible, Jesus is having conversations with Buddhists and Arab people as their master teachers and some of the teachers. And as they ask him certain things, he says, these things came to me and they will never come from you. They will never be in you, because he knew that they were foreign people and they weren't the true people at that time. But he still taught them. Because if you want to change the world, won't you even teach the infidels knowledge so they will be better? If you understood that this world needs peace, wouldn't you teach peace? Wouldn't you show a way? As Jesus even said, I'm going to go to my people first. But then after I go to my people, I need my people to share the good news with everyone else. Right. So even as a child, even as a young man, if we, in the regular books of the Bible, we don't know where Jesus was at. But he went to this ancient mystery schools in ancient Khemet. And at the time, it was already raped. Then you continue forward and jump fast to the Arab invasion of it. Now, when we look at Arab, we have to look at the Arab invasion of the entire continent of Africa and how Islam dominated that area at that time. See, when Christianity came, they were already conquered. See, when the Islamic people came in the early 1800s, they came with the sermon, what they call it, the sword and the sermon. That if you didn't take their message of who Allah was, they cut off your hands, they decapitated your leaders, and if none of the rest of the people after the leader fell and didn't want to fall, they killed everybody else. They just literally went around and killing people. Now let's look at what is happening today. Aren't the African Muslims who have accepted that faith, what do they do to Christians? Don't they just decapitate them? Aren't the wars that mainly happen in Africa is because of this Islamic religion and this Christianity religion and us fighting over these different ideologies that came from invaders?
That's right.
Aren't African people almost more colonized than us? Aren't they more confused than us? Again, if you constantly rape people, remember, our rape has happened over here. We have been tortured and gone through what we went through in the last 400 years. We talk about thousands of years of raping a continent, raping the people who made the greatest advancements in history. We talk about how we look at our communities today. How we can even look at true African history. Why don't they talk about Black Wall Street? Why don't they talk about what Chicago looked like in the roaring 30s and the early 20s and that time period, or what Black America looked like when America was going through the Great Depression? Why don't we hear about the ancient civilization of Timbuktu, the Sun God Empire, which is in Timbuktu, but all of these great empires in the Nile Valley? Why don't they tell us about Nile Valley and all the civilizations coming there being the cradle of life? Is there something that this white man is doing to aid us in genociding us off of this planet Earth? Now, in all honesty, there was a time period where the white man didn't exist on Earth. And I keep on talking about it. I know I talked about it at the end of last month about us changing our minds. But imagine if we understand the power of our thoughts. And we just did what Thanos did, and Thanos did it with his thoughts when he snapped his finger. It was his thoughts that did it. You think it was powered by the glove. But imagine if the white man just up and just disappeared. Completely off of planet Earth. There would be a certain number of people who would go crazy because they would not understand how to live without the white man. When you, what they call it, the Stockholm syndrome, after you end up becoming and love your oppressor, you love your captor, you fall in love with it. Haven't we as a people fell in love with America? I was having a person tell me a conversation about when they travel, you know, you're not just black, you're a Black American when you travel. When people treat you a little bit different because you're a Black American. We fell in love with this American title as a people. Why aren't we happy with being descendants of the Nubians, descendants of the ancient Khemites, descendants of certain African countries and places, and understanding that we are African people? Why are we as a people okay with being black and not understanding that we are descendants of a Negroid race and that we're all technically Negroes, as all of them are Caucasoids? While they are okay with being called Caucasians, but we have a negative connotation with the word Negro now. Why are we so afraid of that word? And one understanding, if you do numerology and look at numerology, the energy of that word in and of itself, with it having E and O, that's master spiritual energy. When you add 5 to 6, that's 11. And according to one understanding of thought, that's a master spiritual energy. So even in the word Negro itself tells us that we are the masters of spirituality.
All right.
Then when we understand who we are and look at what they took from ancient Khemet. And I want to go into our prescribed reading of the month, which is the Nile Valley's contributions to civilization. You see, I talked a little bit about the rape and what they did, but let's get a little bit into the details of what happened. And I just quote chapter 5, called The Rape of Egypt. One of the most important lessons history teaches us is that no civilization lasts forever. Of the many civilizations that have developed in the Nile Valley, only a very few are known to us today. The once grand nation of Kemet is now less than a shadow of its former self. Internal conflicts of the 4th and 3rd millennium BCE made Kemet susceptible to conquest by the Persians, who were later conquered by the Greeks, who in turn were conquered by the Romans. Following the division of Rome into Eastern and Western Empire contributed mightily to the inevitable decline. When Kemet fell, she was renamed Egypt, and her history, culture, language, and religion were violated in a manner unlike any nation before or since. When a man or a person rapes a person, aren't they violating that person in a way that no one has ever violated them before? Aren't they completely changed after that situation? Doesn't it take a lot of repair and reparations to heal that person after they've gone through what they've gone through? See, if we talk about reparations, the entire world owes all of African people of African descent reparations. We cannot talk about what happened to African Americans and what we went through slavery. We cannot ignore the transatlantic slave trade and the millions of people lost in the sea and the ocean on their way to these continents and these islands over here. We cannot talk about the destabilization of many African nations, even through the colonization period, and them raping and taking their land, killing off certain leaders. We have to get prepared for all of that. And we understand that reparations start within.
Right.
We have to repair our relationship with our Creator.
Come on now.
right.
We have to repair the relationship with Mother Nature. We do not treat nature the way we should treat it. We look at our communities and we throw trash everywhere. Do we not understand, first and foremost, plastic is poisonous? That a lot of the paper that we put on the ground is poisonous. The plastic bottles, the beer bottles, all the cans that we just throw in these landfills that we create next door to on the lots. We turn our lots into landfills. We don't throw stuff in the trash cans when the trash cans is right next to us. They say cleanliness is next to godliness, but then look at our communities, are we acting like gods? Do we not understand that when you live, I like to look at this when the minister talks to me about it a lot. Don't you understand when you clean your house, your mind changes? You just feel better after you straighten up and things are a lot of organized. What if our communities look like they do downtown? Notice when our people are downtown, they act totally different than when they're in their neighborhoods. It's just a different energy that they operate in when they're not in a community that has been raped. Because you look at our communities, they have been raped. Again, you look at the history of Chicago in the early 1920s, the 10s, post-slavery, from the 1830s all the way up to the 1930s when black people was prospering here in America. They raped those areas. The Pullman Porter area, Bronzeville, Hyde Park, all have been raped from the greatness. Inglewood has been raped. It didn't used to look like that. It didn't used to be like that. The west side of Chicago didn't used to look and be torn down the way it is. Black people prospered in those areas. And there's many other cities. See, when we talk about the rape of Khemet, let's talk about the rape of dark-skinned people on planet Earth. See, because we can bring it all the way up to today. And them doing the things that they're doing, they're trying to, in a sense, when you remove organization and from the implant of their community, you're raping that community. ABJ being forced out by Lawrence Hall is a rape, and is the white man still raping us continuously?
Violation.
It is a violation. They are violating the things that we do.
That's
See,
right.
and if we cannot look at that as a people,
That's right.
and do we not sound the alarm,
Sound the
as the
alarm.
minister said, we are in a state of emergency. When will we accept the fact that this is an emergency? Is there not enough blood in the street? Are not enough children being killed?
Well.
Are not of our brothers being incarcerated continuously? Are not enough hospitals aren't being closed down? Enough schools aren't being closed down? Is there not enough happening inside of our community for us to wake up? Not enough of us dying before they turn 60? For us to see that something needs to happen. But we know that we have grandparents that live to be 100 or 120, but we are settling for only living to 60. That I had a conversation with a Lyft passenger the other day who was going to celebrate her 60th birthday, and she talked about no more than 80% of the people she graduated out of high school with is alive. When are we going to be okay with that? When we understand, you read the Bible and hear about people like Moses living for hundreds of years. We're like, what? Hundreds of years? No, we're living for hundreds and thousands of years. These people living for these long periods of time, but we died 60. We died 55. We have succumbed to the white man's diet, the king's diet, so much that we are not in the state of emergency. He said that McDonald's is a problem that is on every corner in our community.
Yeah.
See, when you rape a community, when you rape a culture, you put your own stuff there. You insurrect your things in there. Let's talk about the temples and the pyramids in ancient Kenya. When they realized they couldn't use those and they didn't represent them, they tore down brick by brick to build up their mosque. Let's look at our communities. They tear down the buildings in our communities and use those same bricks to put something in there that we cannot utilize, that is not for us. How long will we let ourselves be continually raped by our oppressor and become okay with it? We as a people, we as a race, an entire race, because I think about the mindset of some of our African brothers on the continent. And you look at the way they split up Africa and everybody having their own piece, the Chinese stuff, and we want to talk about the coronavirus and that being affected, and stop being afraid of the things that the white man creates to destroy each other. They learned they can't give us enough diseases to kill us off.
Jesus.
They've tried so many times and realized it ain't really affecting us. So most of the things that they create, every gun, bomb, ain't never been for us. It's always been for them, fighting each other. Look at their history. Look at the history of the Caucasian man on planet Earth. Where he goes, how he dominates, how he continuously colonizes, even though you think the colonization is over. If you are easily able to be uprooted out of your community, I'm sorry, you are still a colonized people. You do not control what goes on into your community. America has just a bunch of African colonies around him.
Well, bring it on home then.
You get what I'm saying? We are just, America started off as a British colony, and you hear the Queen of Britain talk about turning America back into a colony. Saying we're better off coming back under the Queen, and look what has happened when we've let all these presidents and let men rule America. She's saying come back home. Again, we talk about America being baby London. She's proven to you that she's the mother, so we must be baby London, so that America must be the mysterious Babylon that the Bible was talking about. But yeah, we want to be America. Yeah, we want to accept the pain and the sicknesses and the diseases that is promised for this land. We want to accept the destruction that is promised for this land. We want to live and go into their communities and integrate in their communities, not understanding if enough black people lived in the same place, that if a tornado was coming towards it, that it would just skip that area. That there are certain parts of New Orleans that even when they tried to flood it, was able to survive because it was a nice concentration of black people, and those black people was able to survive and then rebuild. But the same white neighborhoods that was hit that they tried to miss are still destroyed today. Do you notice when natural tragedies happen, like the fire that hit Paradise, Florida, that they still haven't rebuilt that area? But that wasn't no black people there. Do you understand that they put us, have our communities next to their important buildings? Because they understand something, that nature doesn't attack us, that if another nation was to attack America, that they're not going to go to the black community first. Think about it, when we were fighting them, American soldiers realized something, that the black people kept on being saved, that they were spared, that they whole camps would be okay, and they go in with 50 other white people and 10 black dudes, and 10 black people are the only people that survived. They caught on to that. They say it's something about them that the rest of the world sees. It is something about them that they still cannot see about themselves. See, if we understood our history, if we were not raped from our culture and who we are, if we were to start just inserting into our children something different than what they see today, if we were to start activating their DNA and understanding who we are, as we teach ourselves, we instantly teach our children. Do you understand what they will be able to tap into? If we tell them, no, yes, you were raped, but you were not stripped naked.
I caught that.
That we can repair ourselves as a people. That we have not lost who we are. Right. That we, and I say we, have so much work to do.
Yes, we do.
See, we have let for too long in our communities be raped by other cultures.
Yeah, it's true.
See, again, I cannot talk about the rape of Khemet without showing you the rape of Chicago. Without showing you the rape of South Shore. Without showing you the rape of Englewood. Without showing you the rape of West Garfield Park.
You're right.
See, because when we look at these communities, we understand that there are great young people who could be geniuses and create such inventions. We, as children, being once children before, we knew our friends. We knew the abilities that we had within ourselves. But who told us we couldn't do it? Didn't society show us that we had to just fit in? That it was taught to our parents that you have to go to school to get a good job, to keep working for the white man? Aren't our schools set up to train employees and not entrepreneurs, not thinkers? They don't show you how to think. They tell you what to think.
Well,
they don't tell you how to believe. They tell you what to believe.
Speak.
See, when we look into ourselves and follow our first mind, if we understood that there was a difference between the conscious mind that we operate on, the subconscious mind that listens to everything, and then the third mind that we always ignore inside of ourselves. That little voice inside of your head that's telling you what is right and what is wrong. That is our connection to the Creator, but how many of us block that out? How many understand the diets that we consume on a continuous basis is the reason why we cannot hear that voice clearly? It is the reason why, and I was just talking to the minister about this earlier, why a lot of us, when we get on Dr. Sebi's diet, particularly us being so raped, us being so out of our natural environment. You ever tried to make a person who have ate McDonald's and poisoned their own life, try to force them into a vegan diet instantly? They get sick. Their bodies can't take it. So imagine us, Dr. Sebi talking about all these things that African people need. I'm sorry, we haven't been on the continent, some of us for over 400 years. Some of us even longer, 600, 800 years. I'm sorry, my body has not adapted and won't adapt to the diet that you're saying is perfect diet for African people. I'm sorry, we in America happen to be the new lost 13th tribe. See, when the people go through a transformation, they evolve in a sense. They become better. See, we are able to go into the next step that Jesus talked about when it came to a certain level of consciousness that you may have. That Buddha talked about with becoming one with a higher self, with yourself, and understanding that we don't need the diets of our past ancestors to an extent. We need the diet of the gods that lived before them. We need to understand and tap into ourselves. We need to train our body to heal itself. But as long as we keep doing the things that the raper of our society, of our culture, of our history tells us this is the right way and the things that we should do, we will stay where we are as a people. But I would,
And worse.
and worse, and we would not see that it is continuously getting worse.
Amen.
See, when we talk about repairing a people, America has gave reparations to Jerusalem continuously, around like $2 billion a year. Why are they $4 billion? Thank you, $4 billion a year. Why do we not? Are we asking the wrong people for reparations? I'm going to talk about that for a second. America is a corporation. But we want reparations from America. America's not a nation, it's a corporation. A nation cannot get reparations from a corporation. But yet we're still trying to get reparations from America. Then we try to get reparations from the United Nations. I'm sorry, they're not a nation either. We are asking the wrong people for reparations. Why aren't we looking at China to repair Africa? Why aren't we looking at Britain to repair Africa, to repair African Americans? Why aren't we looking at Spain? Why aren't we looking at nations of people? We're looking at corporations. We're looking at business agreements and people coming together and say, let's all just sit and have this meeting. But we're not a nation. The United Nations is not a nation of people. It's nations of people coming together to have a conversation, to determine certain things. But the nations, they can hear what the other nations have to say, but that don't mean they're going to do it. See, if we were to realize that we are more than just a nation, if we understand that we are the rightful rulers of planet Earth, and it is our job to take our rightful place back on planet Earth, that we should stop asking and just take.
That's right.
We should stop trying and just do.
That's right.
See, when we ask, we're asking our oppressor to set us free. We're asking him to ignore what happened the last time he gave black people free reign and gave us our 20 acres and a mule, or 100, what is it? 40 acres and a mule?
Yep.
Last time they gave us that, we destroyed America in a sense. In their mind, they gave us the 40 acres and a mule. Black people had one of the most prosperous business ventures ever in American history. And just because they wanted to stay segregated from us, they didn't want to do business with us, they failed. They became so destabilized in America that America has not seen a Great Depression on that level in a very long time. But you think they're going to do it again? They're going to be like, okay, black people, we know what y'all did last time. We just going to let y'all do it again this time. Or do we have to change their minds about something? Or do we have to change our minds about something? See, we give value to their dollar. Their dollar is valueless. If they can just keep printing more of it, and it can never run out, and there's no tangible thing attached to it, the value is not the dollar. The value is what we say is the objects that we're trading. We are more valuable than the things that we're saying. What if you didn't have money? We're just bartering with a middleman. Take the middleman out as a people, and imagine what we can get done. We have let their system of illusion create such despair for us as a people. Let's think about that for a second. They tell you all these holidays, and we just had Christmas passed not too long ago. Tax season is coming. People are getting their taxes and on what they're going to do with their taxes, okay? They're getting a big sum of money from America. America, we're going to give you this big sum of money. And just like that, it's going to be going. You're still going to be in the same debt you was in last year. Your bills still ain't going to be paid for. Your car note's still going to be there. But they just gave you this big sum of money that you could have utilized to get yourself out of debt, to start a business. But because this illusion has tricked us to just be consumers, you got your plans on where you're going to spend that money at already. You already got your list of what you about to do with that money already, because they have tricked you into their system. They have plugged you into their matrix. They have raped you so much that you have become so domiciled that you do not care what they do next. So many people talk about The Simpsons shows us what's going to happen before it happens. And I'm sorry, when you already see it subconsciously, you are pacified when it really happens. When the Twin Towers fell, we seen it on The Simpsons before. When Kobe Bryant helicopter crash, somebody pointed out a point that there was on a Comedy Central, there was a special showing the exact same thing happened. Wait a second, were they preparing us for this? When Trump became the president, it was on The Simpsons. When Trump got reelected, guess what? It was on The Simpsons. And guess what we're going to find out come 2020, in a few months. The Democratic Party is afraid because it already seems like Trump is going to win again. But we already know it. The Simpsons told us. How often is The Simpsons wrong about something they say is going to happen? They might be off just a little bit. He might have had a different haircut. See, they even understand in their movies, they show the black man is supposed to rise. They show it all the time that the black man's history, as the minister was sharing last week, goes far beyond just this earth. See, when we tap into that understanding and we say what black heritage really is, and just stop going past and talking about Malcolm X, or Martin Luther King, or Madam C.J. Walker. I can name 13 other people that they tell us about. But what about S.B. Fuller?
Come on.
What about Noble Drew Ali? What about Marcus Garvey? Why do only so many of us just know him as a journalist? What? Why do we think, what about Elijah Muhammad? Not Farad. We can, that's a conversation for later. But Elijah Muhammad, what he did. Why don't we know about the different people who own businesses on Black Wall Street? What are the leaders they are telling us about? How are we going to continuously ignore COINTELPRO when they tell us they're going to give us our leaders? So then aren't they going to teach us about the leaders they want us to know about? What all about the great inventors and the great scientists? And they created this Hidden Figures thing and showing us that there was a black woman that sent them to the moon. What other things have black people invented that we should be proud of?
That's
Last time I checked everything.
That's right. Black people created.
So how long will we stay continuously raped?
Speak.
See, we are being raped of our intellectual property. We are being raped of our creator. We are being raped of our culture. We call them culture vultures for everything that they take from us, from our music. They heard our music, they turned our drums, which uplift us, used them same drums, they raped them same drums and turned them drums to be able to demoralize our people. Because it's not so much the word that is moving our people, it is the music behind the words. The subconscious messages that are implanted in our brains is coming from the music, but you are like the beat. You can care less the words that people are saying. If you took the music off of the words and just read the words for themselves, you'd be like, what? There are so many songs that I've showed people. I say, go read the lyrics. Don't sing the song in your head. Just read it. Or you take a part of a song and just show somebody a part of the song. Don't tell them what the song is. They read it. They be like, that's retarded. And then you play the song, so they're going to start singing the song and forget what you just showed them was retarded. See, when we understand how deep we have been raped as a people, when we go and find out and realize that a lot of what they have demonized, a lot of what they tell us we should stay away from, is mainly things that we should, as a people, gravitate toward. They tell us that they've shown us that black people love killing each other. I still don't believe that. I cannot accept that. I believe Europeans enjoy killing black people. I personally believe some of us just became more European than the European.
Okay.
We change our mindset, we get them to see who they are. Because they thought it was better to be a white person. And what's one thing white people like doing? They like killing black people. So what have we became? We became white people who like killing black people. We ain't black people killing black people. I'm sorry, I would not accept that. The man who attempted my life, that wasn't a black man who I seen in his eyes. That was an enemy. That was the oppressor looking through his eyes saying, I got me one. But let's look at that. And I would end with quoting something from a speech I wrote before. Because again, we have to understand that our differences we cannot look at. We have to understand that our goal is to fix the issues that I just was talking about. We have to fix the issues of our people being culturally misappropriated. We have to talk about our children being miseducated purposely and us being forced to just be commerce slaves. Us still being slaves, us tapping into our greatness. We believe everyone has a right to their beliefs because the police don't care how different you are or your personal views about anything anyway. We are also not going to hate anyone. We in the Temple of Mercy Association, aka the TOMA Nation, we are not a hate group. We don't hate any of the race, but we support our own.
That's right.
First. White or anyone else. They can donate to our movement, but they can never be in them. They can never sit at the table and no longer decide anything for black people ever again. They can all want to donate, all want to help. Okay, yes, you can help. I said that one day the best thing a white person can do for me to help me is kill themselves so I don't have to do it. And I leave you as I greeted you in the ancient holy words, in the name from the in the words of our ancestors, in Hotep, Shalom, Habaragani, Alafia, and Ashe. Thank you.
Give it up again for Minister Tahaka Shakur. Did y'all enjoy what you heard today?
Yes.
If you're out there in Facebook land, we'd like to welcome you to our live audience. We're here every Sunday at 1818 East on 71st Street at the ABJ Community Development Corporation or Community Center. Please come down and see us and feel free to join us each and every Sunday from 12 to 3 p.m. If you enjoyed what you're hearing and heard, also look in the comments section and donate to this great organization, this movement, this people that is fighting for the freedom and liberation of our people. Thank you. God bless.